Okay, so basically we're told to be socially distancing, but we're really just physically distancing, and we can come together socially if we put our minds to it. And Zoom is amazing, giving this opportunity to see each other. My computer consultant says he can't believe that Zoom hasn't crashed yet, because it's just been, the usage has multiplied like tenfold over the last couple of weeks. But, you know, this has been a time of great disruption and fear. And I'll admit my emotions have run the gamut. We started in this area, in my household, started self-quarantining a couple weeks before the lockdown in our area. And I did notice, though, that once we had the official lockdown, like where everything was closed and people weren't going out and about, that I kind of got numb for about a week. I was a slug. I wasn't sitting in front of the TV. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I just wasn't getting anything done. I wasn't getting my closets cleaned. I wasn't watching movies. I was watching a little too much of the news. We'll talk about that. But so then it took me about a week to kind of snap out of it. And now I'm really looking to how I can best do what I can do, how I can best serve the people in my realm, in my personal life, and those of you who've been followers and subscribers of my work in Extatica. And I thank you for being here and doing that. So I know you've all got personal stories. Actually, maybe I kind of went into that slump because I heard of a woman in our community, a couple, just before everybody started self-quarantining, they'd gone to a small dinner party at a house in San Francisco, 8 people. Next thing you know, the host is in ICU with coronavirus, and everybody else at the party got sick. And our friend was, she was really fighting for her life. Fortunately, she did have a turnaround, but she didn't even want to waste her breath when her best friend called her to talk, because she was really struggling. Thank God she's turned around. I have a close friend whose little great-grand nephew, 6 years old, in the Chicago area, hospitalized with pneumonia. It went into sepsis in his heart. He had no pre-existing conditions, a 6-year-old boy. And fortunately, he's been stabilized. That's as far as we know so far. So praying for him. And because our internet service has been tanking, I've been calling our provider, which happens to be Comcast. And so one night I was on the phone with Comcast, and it happened to be a woman at a call center in the Philippines. And basically, she kind of just wanted to talk. And what happened with them, and I'm telling you this just because it gave me such a powerful global perspective and global intimacy in a way. So she went to work a couple weeks ago, not knowing what, I mean, they knew the coronavirus was happening, but she went to work like any other day. And her instructions, they all got instructions, which is, you're free to leave anytime you want, but when you do, you can't come back and you don't have a job. And so she's a single mom. She has 2 kids at home, a father who was an amputee from diabetes, a mother who was 81 and disabled. Her 2 sisters came over to take care of the family, along with 2 other kids of the family. She provides the only income for all these people. And she's just praying that she doesn't get sick so she can keep working, but she can't go home. They didn't have a change of clothes, nothing. They're feeding them. They have a hotel across the street, so they're taking turns using the beds during shifts, washing their clothes at night, wearing pajamas to work. They got them all pajamas. And in the Philippines, they're down to sardines and canned vegetables. That's pretty much what they have. They've got enough, but that's pretty much what it is, and there's price gouging. And I said, so how many people are in your building? And she said, oh, 800 or 900. So they're praying that nobody gets sick. So that just gave me a, whew, you know, what people around the world are experiencing, and we're all in this together. And there are a lot of views about what's happening, and I'm not going to come into a political, I'm not going to start espousing anything politically. But it is, we all know that it's a time of great disruption and fear. And a good friend, Anadea Judith, who's like the woman who's written so much about work, her work is about chakras and so many other dimensions of our energy, our individual and collective energy. But she talked about it being like, let's say there's a woman, and women who've been any of you who've given birth will relate to this. So can you imagine being out, like growing up in nature in the wild and being 9 months pregnant and not having known anybody else who'd given birth? Being 9 months pregnant and start to feel those contractions and not know what's going on. So this would be horrific pain and wondering what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. And yet, if she knew that a baby was going to be born out of this, it gives a bigger perspective to the suffering that's going on during the period of labor. Knowing there's going to be a baby doesn't make the pain any less, but it kind of makes it worth it. So, especially after that baby is born and the pain stops. So, we know that the world is not going to be the same on the other side of this. Hopefully, there'll be some things for the better, but we're all going to have to change and make accommodations. And we're all going to have to pay a price in the meantime. I'm really sad that we all are. I mean, the finances are one thing, but just people that are losing their lives, people who are fighting for their lives. It's, it's devastating. But I do believe that as a global culture, we're going to get through to the other side. I don't know when. I don't know what it's going to look like. I would like to stick around to see what it is going to look like in a couple of years. So, and I've been getting some emails in response to the invitation to this call. I've gotten some emails, and some people are saying, yeah, great, I'm doing fine. I was really worried about one guy. He replied and he just said, I'm effing lost. And life is bullshit. And I went, oh my God. And I wrote to him. I don't have his phone number. All I could do was email and say, please call a support hotline. There are I'm really concerned about the mental health of our culture and those beyond ours. And so we really have to shore each other up when we are having up moments. And we have to find ways to keep ourselves upbeat and uplifted. And one guy, though, he wrote and he said, I'm ready for new love and a new global order. So there's the other end of the spectrum, looking forward. And so I think, and some people wrote to me saying that they are using this time together with their spouse to work on their relationship and reconnect and find a deeper intimacy and expand their sexual connection, their love life, their love making, their sensuality, and so forth. So I would like to invite you to envision who you're going to be in the next 90 to 120 days. We can just get through this, or we can use this as an opportunity to expand some aspect of ourselves. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. So, like if you're in lockdown or self-quarantine, are you enjoying more time with your partner? Or maybe you've got a bunch of other family members, parents or kids, and maybe you feel like sardines in a can and you're all driving each other crazy. And I know that's happening for a lot of people too. So, or maybe you're totally alone and don't even have any physical human contact. So people are going through their own experiences. Some of you may be alone and longing to meet that partner and now frustrated because you can't physically date right now. There's online dating, of course, is having a boost. But so just quickly, I'll run through a few things that we need to do to shore up our own health and mental and physical health and well-being. And I'm not going to get into depth because you all can search these things online, but things like boosting your immunity, finding things that, supplements that you might want to be taking. Of course, exercise, getting outside is so important, just walking around your neighborhood. It's a chance to people are meeting their neighbors at a distance. It's a way to have human contact, or take a walk with a friend 6 feet apart. I know we all want to keep track of what's happening in the news, but it's really easy to get sucked into constant social media and TV news that really can depress our immune systems. It can suppress the immunity because it aggravates stress. Fear, it engenders fear, which we're all feeling, and that stresses our immune system. So it's really worthwhile to kind of just like decide how much or how little news and social media you're going to take in. Humor, on the other side, is helpful. Laughter is, as they say, the best medicine. So humor and inspirational videos, they're all over. And those are the kinds of things I think we want to feed ourselves. Movies that, not too dark movies right now, you know, movies that are fun and uplifting, comedy or heartwarming, you know, things about human connection. These are the things that can nurture us, and things that are kinds of things. You might watch movies with a friend who's in another location, but then you can discuss the film if you want to. So those are ways to make connection. I also, you know, it's a great opportunity to make contact with friends and family that we've lost touch with. It's a great excuse. I've heard conversations. So many people have told me that they've, you know, reconnected with a brother or a friend they hadn't seen since years ago. And you don't have to be on Zoom, just a phone like we used to. These are ways to nurture our hearts and those of others. And of course, there's so much to do online right now. You can get yoga classes and Pilates classes and martial arts classes, and it's a great time to learn how to play an instrument. You might have a guitar sitting in the corner, and there's guitar lessons online. So things that you can do, learn foreign languages. And so I really invite you to say, you know, what if there was a silver lining in this? What could I get out of this for myself and my loved ones in the next 60 to 120 days, 90 to 120 days? If you're feeling really stressed, I highly recommend that you search for EFT, that's Emotional Freedom Technique. You might have heard of that as tapping. And it can really be helpful for stress release and trauma release. There's a video that's gone viral about a man who was on the Princess Cruise outside Japan, and when he were hospitalized, they were about to put him on a ventilator, and he just didn't ever want to do that. He knew that people didn't come off those ventilators alive. So he remembered that he had studied this EFT tapping, and he started doing it, and it helped him relax. He remembered there was a exercise about expanding your lungs, and he did this for a couple of days, and all of his symptoms turned around. He has it medically documented. So I'm just offering these things as ways to reduce tension. Another one is meditation, and it's so hard for so many people to just sit and try to quiet their mind, and I was never able to do that. And I've been very much into alternative technologies, and I've found these brainwave entrainment CDs for decades. I've been using this sort of thing. Part of it was an inspiration from my music for lovemaking. I see some nods there. But there's a company whose work I really respect. They've got great products. It's called, in fact, let's see. There's a chat button. I just remembered. So I'm going to put a link. There is, if I hit the chat box, I can type a message to everyone. And okay, so this is iAwake Technologies. They have these free tracks. You can listen to their free tracks, and then they've got a store, and you can go in and explore. So basically what you do is you listen to these tracks. They're about 20 minutes long, and they help slow your brain waves down into a state where you're actually in a meditative state, where your thoughts can start to quiet down. They'll never disappear totally for most people, but the idea is it helps you go into this deeply restful meditative state. There's research all over the place for years that proves that meditation increases our immune system function, decreases our stress, makes us more open to a wider focus, to be able to deal with and solve problems with a larger perspective. So there's so many benefits of meditation, and just listening to these tracks. Some of them have music, some of them have nature sounds or water sounds. They're very peaceful and lovely to listen to. So I highly recommend um, iAwake Technologies. I could give you more, but you can just go to their homepage from the free tracks. I think that's enough links to give you. So, and then there's the issue of relationships, right? I mean, that's my realm. And, you know, relationships are really at risk right now, especially intimate marriage and significant other relationships, often relationships with kids and parents too. But it's really important to engage yourself in some of these home-based stress release activities for the sake of your relationship with your partner, if you have one. Of course, for your relationship with yourself. But it's really important to sit down with your loved ones that you are quarantined with, if you are, and talk about, you know, what do you need in this situation? Different people are going to have different needs. Some are going to need more alone time. If you need alone time, you need to be able to say, I need some alone time now, and be able to go off in a corner and read a book or take a nap or go for a walk by yourself. You need to look out for what each other needs. Another person might need to talk. If you have children in the family, it's really good to give them an opportunity to talk and ask questions about what's going on. Not just keep busy with the video games and all that, that's great, but to say, you know, it's like, we are going through a change here. Like, what are you feeling? What questions do you have? Like, give the kids a chance to voice their concerns, because it's not healthy for children to have to dampen down their feelings and their upset. At least being able to ask questions, even if you can't answer them, even if you have to be honest and say, I don't know what's going to happen next, but we're doing our best to stay safe in our household, and we're doing our best to support each other and love each other and keep positive. So and try to cut each other some slack, as you might have experienced, and we will experience more as this goes on, that people's fuses are going to get a little shorter, people's emotional fuses. And we need to be able to cut ourselves some slack, make amends, say, you know, apologize when you blow off or short with somebody or say things you wish you hadn't. Stay in communication and cut each other some slack, and just, it's an opportunity to heal within the family. And as I mentioned, you know, getting in touch with some folks that you haven't talked to for a while, it's a chance to heal some of those relationships. And as some of the people that wrote to me, you know, you can use this time to actually work on creating and expanding your intimate relationship in a way that maybe you just haven't felt you have the time for or the energy for. And now you're stuck together. So it's a great opportunity. One thing I'd like to recommend is a book called 8 Dates. It's the number 8 Dates. You can get it on Amazon, and it's by John Gottman, Gottman, and his wife and another couple. I don't remember all the other names, but if you just search 8 Dates, John Gottman, it's a book that's divided into 8 chapters, and you're not going to get to go on all the dates that he recommends for each one. They cover things like finances, spirituality, family, sexuality, like these areas that you've probably talked about with your spouse, but he recommends all these questions that you can go into more depth. And I've recommended this to people who find it really great, and even being quarantined, they're finding ways to do these dates and go deeper with each other. So I'm just trying to recommend some free or low-cost ways to get through this. So what I'd like to do now is open up things for you. And I'd like to know first, so question number 1 would be, I'll tell you the 3 questions, then we'll do one at a time, and then you can jump around if you want to. The first question is really, how are you doing in this time of coronavirus and, you know, lockdown in some areas? You can say if you're, you know, forced quarantine, or if you're self-quarantining, or none of the above. but how are you doing, especially with regard to your intimate relationships or lack thereof? The second question will be like, what are you doing to get through this that you might want to offer to others as tips or recommendations? And the third is, what kind of support could you use that I might be able to offer? And how can I support you in growing and transforming your love life and intimacy at this time? So those are the three general questions. So what we'll do is, there's a couple ways to do this. We've got like, it looks like 25, 26 people here. So you can raise, I think rather that's, Gianna, do you think that's too many just to open up the lines? Might be too loud.
I think let's start with raising hands.
Yeah. So what you can do is, I believe at the bottom of your screen, there should be a little icon with a little hand. Is that what you're all seeing? Do you see a little raise hand icon? And if you hit that, then we can see that, and Gianna can unmute you. The other option is there's a chat box, and you can type into the chat box. You can type, you'll see a choice of sending a chat to everyone or just to me or Gianna. I don't see one for just me because I guess I'm on as a participant. So if you don't want it to be for the group, you can send it to just Gianna and then she could read it to me. But you know, if you want to keep it private, you can say that and then I'll get it later. But oh, thanks for putting up the link to 8 dates, Gianna. That was good. Okay.
We could also try to unmute and see how it goes.
Let's just see what happens. We'll see if there's too much background noise. Let's try that. Let's unmute everybody.
And every time you inch closer, because just had to have it.
Do you want to wait for the, I don't know when this call will be done. You
Okay.
talk about?
So if anybody would like to just jump in and say, first of all, let's just say, how many of you are totally alone in your home, that you're sequestered alone? Raise your hand if that's the case for you. Oh, I can't see most of you. So
He's using the train, so.
So I think we're gonna have to mute people, Gianna.
Okay, one second.
He's
Getting some other.
I know, that's what I said. I go, oh my gosh, they definitely stay.
I got to unmute myself. Okay, so can you see a little? Yeah. Okay, so there's a chat. There's a. Okay, so Roxanne says she's alone but goes to work. Anybody else? Like, what do you expect? Are you alone? Who's alone? Just hit raise hand if you're alone. Okay. Is that working, Gianna?
Yeah, I just unmuted one guest that put her hand up. Did she have a question?
She might just be raising to say that she's home alone. Okay. And Andrea says, I have family that lives at home with me. Can't see all that. So, yeah, that lives at home with me. And how many of you are living with your intimate partner? Could be other people as well, but how many of you are now in lockdown or self-quarantine or just staying at home with your intimate partner? I see a couple here, Aaron and Keely together. Hey. Paul. Hi, Paul. Well, you're at home with your intimate partner. I have to unmute you there. I can't. You have to unmute yourself. I can't unmute you.
Who are we unmuting?
Paul Benson.
There we go.
There we go.
Benton.
Hi, Ellen. Good to see you.
You too.
Yes, Mika and I are here. She's actually on another call right now, so she's doing a session. So we're doing sessions with people, and we're just living the good life. We're out here in the country, so we have plenty of space. We can go for walks. We're not. I'm in a little town, small town up in Oregon. Very few people on the street. It's very quiet. So that's the situation.
Yeah.
And we spend time together. We're spending quite a bit of time together. And then time alone, it takes those. So we're working through that. When do we need to be alone? When do we need to be together? And we're just taking it moment by moment.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? What's happening with you? Harold, hi.
Hi, Ellen. How are you?
Good. I didn't know you had a baby piano there.
Something for me to take up.
This is a new view of you there. I haven't seen that background. Yeah. Welcome.
South Carolina is not on lockdown or anything. What I've found is there's seemingly even more moments of awe and amazement as you look for them, or they're presented all around. I've had that with my family, my friends, my coworkers. I hate to say that the Corona time has been a better than normal time with so many other folks suffering, but it's been kind of spectacular to really take in how amazing the other people in my life are. And it kind of, when you talked about being gentle to others, it's a tender look at myself is allowing me to be tender and take in the awe that seems to be pretty much all around.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Who else? What's happening for you?
Hi, Ellen.
Hi. Hi, Aaron.
I'd just like to take a minute to say thank you. I don't need to tell you about us, but I'm just a longtime follower of your work online. Ordered a couple of things from you, and I noticed that you had put out an email saying you were going to do this call. And, you know, my wife and I, we're married since October. And yeah, so we're still kind of new. I'm just a really big fan of your work, and just wanted to support you on this call today.
Wow, thank you. I feel supported. I appreciate that. Thank you. And where are you located?
We are in North San Diego, South Riverside County, California.
So you're in lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
we're
in California.
we're in self quarantine. Our plans are actually to break the law. We are going to. I've got a camping trailer on the side of the house.
Just a desert.
Yeah, we're going to hitch up and go out to the open desert, and just have we've got 5 children between the 2 of us, and we're going to take some of them out and just go ride our dune buggies out in the open desert, and you know, get away, spend some family time out of the house, but still staying away from people.
Yeah.
Do 5 kids live with you?
Not all the time,
No.
thank God.
Well, that sounds like a healthy escape. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Good for you. And thank you for being here and for your support. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our honor. Thank you.
Okay. Who else? I see a phone lighting up here. How do we answer the phone, Gianna?
Adrian. Adrian,
Hi. Hi, Adrian. Welcome.
how are you? I'm in South Florida, and I feel like some of your callers. I hate to say it, but I'm loving this time. And the reason is I feel like I'm not missing anything. I'm usually very compulsive and I'm a ballroom dancer. So I'm always rushing to the ballroom, and you got to get dressed and you have to drive. And now there's no makeup for 3 weeks, and I'm not driving at all. And my hair is growing out. I'm seeing gray roots, and I'm loving it. And I'm alone, and I'm cleaning, and I'm cooking, and I'm finding these podcasts or whatever they're called, and I'm learning about Zoom, and I'm exercising. I go bicycling and walking, and I made a little gym in one of my rooms So I'm doing the gym and I'm setting it up with the TV. And I was up this morning at 5 o'clock rearranging furniture. So I'm entertaining myself and I'm loving it. And of course, there are times when I just really need a hug, but I'm not getting a hug, and that's okay. So
They do recommend getting a big pillow and hugging that.
yes, that went through my mind when I said it.
It doesn't hug back, but
but it's good. It's good. And also, I am having an occasional friend come over, and we sit about 10 feet apart on my driveway, and we don't talk. We don't touch. And last night, my dance partner came over, and he was at the end of the driveway, and I was at the top, and I said, "Okay, let's do salsa. Let's do merengue. Let's do hustle."
Oh, I just got chills. So you're dancing at a distance.
Apart. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's great.
And tonight I'm going to have him over and I'm inviting Alexa. And so we're going to, and my sons are in Tampa. They're about 4 hours away and they're both thriving. They're doing well. And so I'm praying for everyone and for the universe. As a matter of fact, tonight there's some 6 o'clock world prayer for a moment of silence in case anybody wants to join.
6 o'clock Eastern time?
6 o'clock Eastern time, correct.
Thank you.
And I think that this is a really healthy time for, like, nature is loving this. The animals are coming closer to me. The air is clear. It's wonderful. I think there's going to be a lot of gifts that come out of this time, forgiveness, and I just hope that that we thrive more after this sort of hurricane.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing all that. And I agree that I think there's a lot of silver linings now, like you're describing for yourself and for others. And I think there's going to be a reprioritization. Personally,
I agree.
Nationally, globally, it's going to take a while to all trickle out.
Also, have you seen all the clever stuff on Facebook? The stuff that makes you laugh and the creativity. I think that people are going to find stuff in themselves, traits and abilities that they never knew existed because they didn't have the time or the patience to dig that deep. But now we have no place to go except inside. So,
that's right. Yeah.
So I think it's good.
There's a lot of goodness in it. Yeah. And, to be honest, my view is everything has the balance. There's always the balance, the light and the dark, yeah, go on.
And I knew that you didn't want to discuss politics, so I will not. But I do believe that on a bigger picture, we as the United States are going to make ourselves more whole, be it with pharmaceuticals, whatever, than we were before. We will learn from this. We will grow. We will become a better nation. And I think that's really wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great.
Thank you. What a treat. I feel like I know you. I see your picture all the time in your emails, but this is so nice to hear your voice and your personality.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to see your picture.
Thank
but
you.
You're calling in. I'm glad you're here.
Okay. I'll send you a picture.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Adrienne.
Okay. I will do that. Thank you, Ellen.
Oh, my pleasure. It is my pleasure to be here with all of you. That's for sure. So, hi. So I just saw somebody pop up. Is that Randy? Did you want to say something or did you just come in for a flyby? And who else
entered the room.
Okay, entered the room. I can't see everybody at once, but I think if somebody wants to speak, I'll see them. So who else has anything you'd like to share? Like tell us where you're from. You've been saying what's working through. If you're not feeling so great as Adrienne and Aaron and Paul, that's okay. And Harold, if you're feeling, down in the dumps, please share that too, because it's the whole gamut that we're all experiencing, and it runs its course from day to day for many of us. So,
Christy said she had something to share.
okay.
Hi there. So, I too have been a follower of yours for at least something like 12 or 13 years.
Wow.
I love your work. So, even though I'm not feeling well today, I made a point to get on this call because I knew you'd be inspirational.
Oh.
So, I live in Santa Barbara, so we're on mandatory quarantine. And I totally agree with the perspective, and I'm enjoying it too, of the slower pace, being able to get outside and do lots of things. And I'm getting a bunch of stuff organized in my house, that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. But there's several things that are really hard for me. One is that my income is completely and totally dependent
Yeah.
on contact with people. I teach lessons to kids privately, and so my income just literally just stopped. It just stopped. And so now I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to afford my rent until, and not just until further notice. Rent here is so high. I don't know how I'm going to get caught up once we get back to normal. So I've got some fears like that going on. And I don't plan on paying my rent this month or my car payment. And I live alone, but I do have a significant other, and he also lives alone, but his job got cut back, but he's, instead of his regular full-time work where he was also able to work some overtime, he's it's kind of all over the map. And at first we were completely quarantining away from each other just for the, just to be safe. But my mental health was going down really fast because I really thrive on touch. One of the things I do is I'm a bodywork therapist. And so that business went down the toilet as well. And even if it's just hugging, just not being able to touch and be touched by other human beings felt like the end of the world for me.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was like, well, if I have to go several months without touching another human being, I don't want to be here. And so we decided that since we had already been so close anyway, like up until this thing happened, and like, well, what if we live together? And we decided to take the gamble. And so, I mean, this is going to be really personal what I'm getting ready to share, but I mean, so what if we're doing it wrong, but we decided to make love but not to kiss? And I just thought that would be like the most intensive exchange of germs if we were going to be together. So that's what we're doing, and it's keeping me sane. And like, he came over last night and we watched TV for a little while and kind of snuggled, but he didn't stay all night or anything. But really takes the edge off. And I've got to say one thing that I predict that there's going to be divorces that come from this situation, breakups, but I think there's probably going to be some marriages too, because I had just read something this morning that the divorce rate skyrocketed in China, but this really seemed to affect him to make him want to get closer to me, and he's just been so affectionate and so protective, and that's been a really nice change.
Oh, sweet.
Really nice. So that's kind of what's going on with me. And this is part of it, is that with the unknown of how long this is going to last and how we're going to recover, it's really stretching me to my limits. And I'm a meditator, and I'm having a really hard time with that. So I'm hoping that you can maybe offer some extra special practices or something to do with safety or a sense of groundedness and security. So maybe when we make love, we could try something
Mm.
a little special that would increase. I'm being very selfish here. Would it really increase my sense of safety and that we're going to get through this together and
Okay,
maybe.
so you mean safety in the larger sense, not just from the virus, but just, I'm just trying to understand more
Well,
clearly.
I mean, like long-term safety, like we'll get through this together. And even though we don't know what's going to happen, that we have each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping you might have a couple of tips on some lovemaking practices because I know that in your tapes you talk a lot about vulnerability and safety.
Yeah, and when you say lovemaking tips, are you asking for something that, like working around the kissing part? I just want to make sure, or just things that help bring you to a sense of deeper connection?
Deeper connection, like are there particular positions that we might like, for example, sitting in yab yum
Mm-hmm.
and just spending some time and slowing. And my idea was to just really slow down and I know there's another teacher out there that talks about this way of holding a woman where the man puts his hand kind of at the small of your back
Mm-hmm.
and just holds you really close, that it tends to give women a real deep sense of safety and that, that we like to make love better when we're feeling safe.
Yes, and of course that heart-to-heart full body hug is really valuable, and it's been, brain science has shown that it actually does help a woman
Hmm.
relax more and have a stronger sense of trust in her male partner.
Yes.
There's no research that I know of yet on the same-sex partnerships, but a woman who's feeling like that heart connection, that heart-to-heart physical, whether it's clothed or unclothed, the hug, um, for at least 20 seconds. It takes at least 20 seconds. Most men will let go when he feels the woman starts to relax. He feels it's complete. But really, that's just when she's starting to let go into it. And that's when to keep it going a few seconds longer, because that's when she really connects. And it does stimulate oxytocin. I will give you a little exercise right now, and that really brings closeness. It doesn't have to be sexual. It can be, but it can be before or after actual sexual lovemaking, or just before you go to sleep or wake up in the morning or take a nap. So basically it's lying together spoon style, and the man with the woman's back to the man's chest, and the man can put his arm around on her chest. And so it's, first of all, you decide who's going to lead breathing. Usually, I mean, the smaller person may breathe faster than the bigger person. So you find kind of a middle ground. And you start by just breathing together. He can feel her breathing with his hand on her chest, and she can often feel his breathing just by expanding his chest and belly, breathing as it touches her back. And so you get into rhythm, just synchronizing your breath together. And then imagine that you are actually breathing energy right through your back and chest walls into, you're breathing right in and out of each other's hearts. Just as you breathe in, it's going to her heart, and you breathe out, maybe it's going back to his. So you can have some brief verbal connection around this, and just breathe back and forth in and out to each other's hearts. And then you can say, okay, let's do it with our third eye. So it's really imagining the pineal gland right in the middle of your brain. If you had a cross section from above your ears and then from the front to the back where your third eye is, the middle of your brain would be like your third eye, deep inside the pineal gland. So you can imagine just breathing in and out of each of your pineal glands. And after you've done that for a couple minutes, then go to your second chakra, which is just above, it's just above your pubic bone, basically. And you're breathing in and out of that, that's really connecting that second chakra. That's like the seat of desire. It's a very deep, intimate place. It's connected with sexuality, but not quite as primal as first chakra. just breathing like it's your internal reproductive organs, just breathing back and forth between those together. That can be so deeply connecting. It's a great practice to do. It takes just a couple minutes, and you might just fall asleep together then, or you might feel like making love, or do this after making love. But it's really deeply connecting. If you know all the chakras and you're interested in that, you could actually go through all the chakras, doing that at the same, breathing in and out of each chakra together. But just the heart, the middle of the head, and the second chakra, the reproductive organs, is just really unifying to two people. How does that sound? Let's unmute Christy. How do we unmute her, Gianna? Oh, there she is.
There we go.
How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. I have one little question. So I get the spooning part. On the other breathing, like I've heard you can touch foreheads together. So, but can you do this whole process spooning, or do you need to turn around and do the other?
No, you don't need to turn around. You can, all you need to do is visualize it.
Oh, that
And
sounds
if you're facing each
amazing.
other, like in Yab Yum or something, yes, you can touch foreheads and do it that way. But in the spooning position, you just have to say, okay, one of you just says, okay, let's do now our third eye. And then you just envision it. Breathe it.
It sounds wonderful. And I got to say that just hearing you describe the process, I felt my body relax into it.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
you're very welcome.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for jumping in and sharing so deeply.
Thank you.
Okay. Who else would like to jump in? See, Christy did all of that. She shared what she's doing to get through this, and then asked for support. I might not be able to give all the support like that right away, but at least if I know what's needed, I can work on it. Okay. If we don't have anybody, and if you want to say something in the chat, you're welcome to do that. Oh, and somebody else said, I did read earlier that Roxanne said she's alone but goes to work. And then another person, I don't have a name, said that she's alone, or he or she is alone with the kids. And another, Andrea says, I have family that lives at home with me. Yeah. Anybody else? Or maybe we're complete. Well, it seems like we're complete, and I just want to, what I'd like to do is just take a moment and tune into our hearts and just connect with everyone here, because we really, even though we're all over the country and maybe the globe, we're still connected. And if we just take a moment and tap into our hearts. And I'm going to add something on because it's coming to me. So as we have our eyes closed, because it really feeds our physical and emotional, spiritual bodies, imagine this beautiful golden white light that is like showers down from above, and it pours into the top of your head. And it infuses every cell in your head with this light and unconditional love and acceptance. And it fills your brain. And it fills your skull and your scalp and your hair. And it fills your inner ear and middle ear and outer ears and your eye sockets and eyeballs and your nose. And it fills your mouth and your teeth and gums and your throat and your neck. And it just like, so your whole head and neck are lit up with this beautiful golden white light infused with unconditional love and acceptance. And it keeps flowing down from above, and it flows down through your head and neck and now into your collarbones and your shoulders. And now it keeps flowing down from above through you, and now it flows all the way down your arms, all the way down to your hands and to your fingers and fingertips, filling them with this beautiful golden white light infused with unconditional love and acceptance. And it's an inexhaustible source now that keeps flowing down from above through your head and neck and now into your upper torso, into your shoulder blades, now into your rib cage, and your breasts and your heart and your lungs, filling them all with this unconditional love and acceptance and golden white light. And it keeps flowing down from above now into your middle torso and your spine, your entire rib cage, all of your digestive organs, flowing down into your lower digestive organs, your reproductive organs, and now into your lower back and into your hips and genitals. And it just keeps flowing down from above, this beautiful golden white light. Every cell, as it fills with this light and this unconditional love and acceptance, the cells are just like happy dancing, percolating, like, yay, we are so full of love and acceptance. And it keeps flowing down from your hips down into your upper thighs, filling your thighs, flowing down into your knees, surrounding your kneecaps, flowing down into your lower legs, all the way down into your ankles and feet and toes. And the source is inexhaustible. It keeps flowing down from above. And you're so full now of this love and light and acceptance that now the excess starts to pour down around you, enveloping you in a cocoon of this vibrating golden white light infused with unconditional love and acceptance. And it's so full, and you just bask in this unconditional love and acceptance. And yet it keeps flowing down, and this excess now just starts to flow out of your heart in every direction. It flows to the people that you love. It flows to people that you work with in person or remotely now. It flows to your neighbors. It flows to all the people, all the healthcare workers who are trying to save lives and take care. All the people with distribution systems that are trying to bring protective gear and needed medical supplies and equipment to all the people around the country and around the world who just need energetic love and support, if nothing else. For our politicians and all the people who are trying to find the way to get through this crisis and support one another. Even those we don't agree with, sending them love and light that they can see the way that will be in the best interest of all concerned. And just starting to feel this network of love throughout the planet. Connecting with nature, this network of love that nature is actually always emanating. Nature is emanating this love energy, this love vibration all the time. And as we keep spreading our love energy and staying in touch with this inexhaustible source that can flow through us and beyond us and connect with everyone throughout the globe. Just breathe it in. Just bask in this opportunity to tune in and be our best selves. To tune into our physical, emotional, and spiritual resources. And share the best of all of that. Okay, and so when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes. Thank you all for being here. I'm just feeling in love with all of you. Thank you all. And stay in touch. Feel free to email me. Just hit reply to any email I've sent you. Okay, have a great day. Be well. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's unmute everybody. Let's unmute everybody, please, Gianna, so we can just say hello, goodbye. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for this.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
So much. It was
Thanks
wonderful.
connecting.
Thank
Very
you.
special.
So welcome.
Well, my first time and it was wonderful. Thank you.
What was what?
It was my first time and it was wonderful. Thank you.
And who is that? That's Patricia.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, very special.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, this is very special that we can do this. And
Air hugs and kisses to everybody.
Yeah. Yes.
Bye-bye. Hi, David. Just came online. Everybody, yeah. Take care. Bye-bye.
Blessings to all.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.